Happy Saturday to you, gang. Chef Kevin Belton here. Now, we're going to do something today that I'm not a fan of, but I'm growing to like it. We're talking about zucchini. For me personally,
National Zucchini Day.
It's National Zucchini Day, yes, as Monica just reminded me. Now, Monica loves every vegetable. I love vegetables. Zucchini for me sometimes are a little watery. A lot of times when I have them, folks overcook them and they just get mushy. But Monica says, why don't you try this? And she's a bread maker. And she says, why don't you try this zucchini cake? And I'm like, hey, zucchini bread. But,
Carrot.
huh?
Zucchini and carrot.
Zucchini and carrot. I was going to get to the carrots. I was going to tell everybody about the carrots. You know, I'm going to have to get her on this side of the camera one time for you, gang. I said cake because to me it looks like cake, and I'm in my mind I'm telling myself it's cake, but we're doing zucchini and carrot bread, okay? Now, let's get started right quick. So basically I'm starting off with some flour, okay? Into that flour, I have baking powder. I have a teaspoon of baking powder, half teaspoon of baking soda, salt, cinnamon, and nutmeg, okay? And it goes into a half cup of flour. And I just want to get those mixed in right quick. We're just going to get this all just kind of stirred together here. All right, we can set this on the side. And in our other bowl, now let's kind of get the wet mixture going. So, half a cup of white sugar, quarter cup of packed light brown sugar. Now the recipe I did with light brown sugar. And you know, every once in a while, I may not have it. So guess what? I'll use a dark brown sugar, okay? And if you notice, I'm taking a spoon. And you know how brown sugar sometimes kind of get caked up and packed up a little bit? So that's why I'm just using the back of the spoon to try to break this up so it blends evenly, okay? And you know, if you ever have sugar, if you don't use that much brown sugar, go ahead when you open it up, especially if it's in a bag, put it in a Ziploc. That'll keep it a little moist. That'll keep it from drying out to get hard as a rock on you, okay? So here, we're just going to get this mashed up. And I'm just doing this so this kind of blends all the way through. Now, let's go with a few wet ingredients in here, okay? Now, this will give us flavor. At the same time, this will give us some moisture. Applesauce. I have 3 tablespoons of applesauce. All right? I also have a quarter cup of vegetable oil. Now, you know, with most breads and cakes, we need that oil to keep it from being so dry, all right? Into this, let's get this, come on, we can wait to get it started. We're gonna do a couple of eggs. Oh, I kind of made a mess with that one. And you see what's nice is, this is one of those recipes where we really don't have to mix it with a mixer. We could just use our hands for it. But when we get to the frosting, that I did in the mixer, but I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay? Now let's just get all this mixed in. You're going to see this takes together really, really, really nice. Look how smooth that is, okay? We just want to get it to where it's mixed together. Now, the one I made earlier, I didn't do raisins in. Monica is the raisin fan. I like raisins, but I had them so much in bread pudding that I don't eat many raisins. So we're going to get in 3/4 cups of raisins. We're going to get in 3/4 cups of shredded carrots. And I just took the carrots and gave them a really fine chop on them, okay? So they were shredded. Or you could grate carrots if you want. Let's get that mixed in. Now, here's our zucchini. And if you notice, I have our zucchini, I have it in a strainer, okay? This is also 3/4 cup. But I'm going to take a spoon, and I'm just going to try to press a lot of this moisture out of the zucchini. You know, the one I made earlier, I was using a plastic measuring cup to press it out. And the handle broke. I guess I pressed a little too hard and it broke, but it's okay. I'm gonna have to get another set. But that happens. That's things that'll happen in the kitchen. And you know, I ran out of cheesecloth. So that's why I'm just using a strainer to try to get rid of some of this moisture. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and get our zucchini in there. All right. Hey, if you're a juicer, you could use this zucchini juice in something. All right. Let me stick this right over here because I don't know, we might make a little juice a little later. All right. Now that we've gotten all of this combined, you just want to make sure you get those raisins mixed in really good. You want to make sure you get the zucchini mixed in, the carrots mixed in. Look how pretty that is. Now we're going to start adding our flour to this. Now, guys, one of the things we don't want to do, okay? We've got this thoroughly mixed. One of the things that sometimes when we bake a cake or something, things like that, and breads, they get tough because we overwork them. Don't overwork them. If you've ever had biscuits that were like hockey pucks, that's because they were overworked. So let's get our flour in. And you know, like I said, I did a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg, half teaspoon of cinnamon. Of course, you could add more to that if you want. So I'm just going to take this spatula and just kind of stir this in. Now make sure you're getting the sides and the bottom, so we don't want to have any dry flour bits. We want everything nice and moist. But you see how this is starting to come together. One of the ways to tell, to make sure, see how that has some dry flour right there? One of the ways to tell also is pick up your bowl. Look at the bottom of your bowl to make sure you don't have any dry spots all around the bottom of your bowl. And that way, you know that you don't have any dry spots. If you don't have a Monica to tell you, get that spot, you could do it that way, all right? So there we go. That's all we want. Now, I've taken the pan and I've sprayed it with a little all-purpose vegetable spray. And now let's just go ahead and get this in. Come on, I want to get it all in. Come on. My mom baked a lot of cakes. And when Mom would bake a cake, she would always take the pan and drop it. And I always asked her, Mom, what are you doing? And she says, in case they had some air in there, that gets the air out. Here, I'm just going to take the spatula, get all those goodies off the spatula, and kind of just drag it back and forth across the top like that. Now, I have the oven preheating, 350 degrees, okay? And what we want to do, if you notice, I have the wire rack sitting here for when it comes out. I like to set it on a wire rack because that gives a chance for air to get underneath it to cool. So after cooling for about 10 minutes on the rack, then I'm going to turn it over and get it out of the pan and let it rest on the rack itself, okay? Now, this is going to bake for a total of about 50 minutes. But here's the deal. After the first 35 minutes, just open the oven, take a piece of foil, gently place it right over the top. All right? You don't have to really press it down too much. Just place it over the top after about 35 minutes. That way, in that last 15, 20 minutes of cooking, it doesn't get over brown on the top, all right? So after you cover it, another 15, 20 minutes, take a toothpick or a knife and come out clean. So in the oven we go. 35 minutes. We're going to cover it. And then check it about 15 minutes after that. But take a look at this. And look at it. And let me tell you about the icing right quick. The icing is so simple, okay? And look, I made a double batch and put it in a container. I started off with, here I double the batch, but the recipe, 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 ounces of cream cheese, okay? Let them get soft, let them get room temperature. Use a mixer, all right? Or if you want to beat it by hand, you want to get them light and fluffy, all right? Then you go with a cup and a half of powdered sugar, splash of vanilla, and a pinch of salt, just like a quarter teaspoon of salt. Whip all that together till it's nice and creamy, and there is our icing. Now, of course, the icing is optional. For some of us, this is not an option. Even if you don't make the bread or cake, make icing. Always have icing. Look how simple. Use this icing for different things. Anything you want. It's a nice cream cheese ice. Think about this on a carrot cake. Oh my goodness. But look at this. This is how it looks when it'll come out. You can see why I put the foil over the top, because we didn't want it to brown off too much. But look how it looks. Now, this one doesn't have raisins in it. You can see it doesn't have the raisins in it, all right? The one that's in the oven now are going to have raisins in it, so it's up to you. Do you want to do regular raisins? Do you want to do golden raisins? Monica has some these jumbo multicolored raisins. And also, if you want to throw some nuts in, you could go with walnuts, you could go with pecans, you can go pretty much with whatever you want. But I tell you what, doesn't that look so good? And guess what, gang? On the stove here, I have my teapot because I like a little cup of afternoon tea, all right, or some coffee. I can't wait till this afternoon because I think this is going to go great with either a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or maybe I might have to have one of each so I can have 2 slices, all right? So celebrate National Zucchini Day with me. Make yourself some zucchini bread, or as most of us like to call it, zucchini cake. Zucchini and carrot cake, all right? I hope this helps. I hope you try this recipe because it's really nice. And remember, don't forget, this icing, you can use it so many different ways. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, keep washing those hands, keep masking up, be safe, take care of the family and friends. For WWL, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and have yourself a rest of a great afternoon. We'll see you soon.